A revolutionary. Say whoa. Trap revolutionary. Got the wave of too scary. Doing this thing like Malcolm ain't by any means necessary. We ain't got it by no one seen hand. We got the master plan. Get the move.
I want to do the video real quick about update on Karmelo Anthony's case. You know, a lot of us. Well, I know I actually made some videos. A lot of us following the trial and things of that nature. So, you know, his new attorneys, actually filed for a new trial in Collin County, the Collin County Court. That initial appeal also to have the appeal to have his case retried, saying he did not get a fair trial, to have Judge John Roach Jr. to be removed from overseeing any new trial proceedings, actually to recuse himself as well. Motion to recuse Judge John Roach Jr. from from even handling anything on appeal, in any post-trial proceedings. I want to see a motion for new trial based on alleged constitutional misconduct, constitutional errors during the original trial. So I actually, my thing was I approached it from the aspect of the incident not, shouldn't have ever happened in the first place, and the fact that Austin Metcalf's coach, Bart Starr, something like that. Let me remember. I believe his name was Starr. That told Austin, to basically step up, and he took that as step up and lead. So basically to take over, he took that as taking over to Robert Starr. I said Bart Starr. Robert Starr, his coach, telling him he needs to basically step up and lead, and he took it as that gets him the control to go take over the team and tell other people what to do. They knew Karmelo Anthony didn't go to the school, so they end up, having a dispute about that, trying to make him leave, and they get into it. So, and so they end up jumping on Karmelo. Karmelo, I guess in his defense, stabs Austin Metcalf, and Austin Metcalf ends up, dying or whatever. I approached it from the fact that the coach Robert Starr never had the authority to tell Austin Metcalf to go tell Karmelo what to do. Because under the law, which is in loco parentis doctrine, a staff member cannot deputize a student. They can't give authority to another student to tell another student what to do. And like I had mentioned as well, that'll cause a gamut of so many problems, a gamut of problems, man, across the board with students trying to direct other students what to do. Not only would you have illegal activities, you would have bullying on a whole nother level. Kids being teachers' pets, even on a high, like just such a high level, or hyper scaled level, and them going, doing things to other kids for the teachers, trying to instruct the kids, where it may be, right? Bullying the kids, beating the kids up for the teachers. It would be a very big problem. That's why you cannot do that. And I think, the educators or, the lawmakers that, put that in place, they knew that. They had the wisdom to understand that, like, hey man, we can't, it's just no way we can give authority to a child or allow staff members to give children authority to tell other children what to do. It's going to be a problem. And even if they didn't realize that, it's good they did put it in place. You know what I'm saying? Because there's just so many problems that would be created from that. So my theory was that the coach never had the authority to tell Austin Metcalf what, to deputize him, to try to give him authority to tell somebody else what to do. And the coach was wrong, for that. And I even said, the coach should actually face, criminal negligent charges, possibly even be, guilty of criminal negligent homicide. And so, because under the, I said chapter 37 of the education code, it actually, states that in the sense that, staff members are only allowed to, basically direct students, on certain things, what I'm saying, activities, whatever within the school. So, that is what I argued. And I actually took the legal memorandum that I came up with. I actually took it to Russell Wilson's law office, Russell Wilson II, in downtown Dallas, and gave it to his secretary, actually emailed it to his secretary because I felt so strongly about him. Like, this whole case shouldn't have, this incident shouldn't have occurred in the first place, because the coach was out of line for giving or telling Austin Metcalf, to try to go tell, to, step up and lead or whatever, and try to tell him to, basically, you got the authority, what I'm saying? You go make sure people are doing what they need to do. Nah, he didn't have that authority, what I'm saying? So that's why I approached it like that. And that's why, like I said, I ain't made a video about it. And I was like, man, you know what? I was thinking about sending it to somebody else. And I was like, instead of me, trying to go, find the middleman, I'm like, let me just go to the source. So I literally got in my car, like, was that last week? I think, yeah, last week on, was it Wednesday or Thursday? And took it down there. Took the legal, but I ain't take it physical. I just had it like a PDF form of it. And I just, I was like, man, and went to talk to his secretary because I'm like, I don't know if y'all approaching it, but they're saying, his secretary is saying we get over like 100 emails a day, so just thinking in that sense, it's like I hope, I know it's a lot that they're getting, but I really hope, man, that they maybe employ that strategy, or at least bring it up, like, this whole incident occurred because a coach was, he not to me it's kind of like it's negligent. He was negligent in his duties as a coach or a staff member, and he improperly charged Officer Metcalf with authority to go tell other students what to do or to try to direct other students, in what they need to do, and that wasn't right. That was totally incorrect, totally improper. So, that's why I said, he honestly really should be negligent, held on some form of negligent form of charges or whatever, in this case, because he told Austin Metcalf, trying to tell him or thought he could give him authority, but still though, and even in the law, it says ignorance of the law is no excuse. That's just what it is. No excuse. Just because you don't know the law, it doesn't give you an excuse or absolve you from any form of punishment, under the law. So I would say that, the coach was wrong. And I would say, like I said, he instigated this whole incident in the first place, from not, being aware, or even if he was aware, but like I said, even if he wasn't, he's not absolved under the law, what I'm saying, for that. So that's why I said, like, man, I think they need to approach it from that aspect, and, make sure that is known. Like, under the law, he had no authority to do that, so had he never did that, we wouldn't even be talking about this incident right now, so, and this could be a bigger thing as well to help. That's why I say it would be good also on the level for them to bring it up, because it would, I think, elucidate or, I guess, but in a basic sense, it would bring awareness to other teachers, other staff members, like, hey, you cannot, because some people may not even know. They might not even know that. Like, man, you can't tell another student. You can't tell your student or whoever, your um, um, team or whatever captain or whatever he is on your football team. If you are the coach, you can't tell him to go tell other students what to do. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, that's going to lead to bullying and a whole bunch of, like I said, a gamut of other things. You know what I'm saying? But that would make, like I said, this could bring awareness to other teachers, students, coaches, staff members, whatever it may be. Like, hey, you can't give children authority over other children. You know what I'm saying? And that would just put that, make that would pretty much bring that to light and put that out there, to where people will understand that better. People will really be aware of others. Like they bring them, hey, with this, and this, the law says this. The coach charged him. You basically gave him authority, which he had no authority to do under the law, chapter 37. Also, code of the statute. Basically, the doctrine, the in loco parentis doctrine states that staff members cannot give students authority over other students. So to bring that out, man, and really bring the light and make teachers everywhere, really, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, this is in Texas, but I'm pretty sure other states as well. They have some form of doctrine, some form of statute or code, education statute to where, it says that, but it will really, really bring this to light. I think that's really important, so anyway, man, I just want to make this video and bring it out, kind of talk about the, updates on his case. Like I said, I followed the case extensively, you know what I'm saying? And I was just like digging because I'm like, man, I know going well, no coach or no staff member can't tell another student to get him authority to go tell another student what to do. That would cause so many problems, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, shoot, I researched and just, came at it in that sense, So I said, I think it's important in the law and attorneys, his new legal team, they need to bring that up, because that would change the dynamics of the case, in regards to like, well, how this incident occurred in the first place. And, Karmelo being that he was taking up for himself, he shouldn't even be charged with no homicide like that. You know what I'm saying? From the fact that the incident happened because of a coach telling another student improperly, instructing another student or, giving authority, which he didn't have, to another student to go tell another student what to do. So anyway, I think that just changed the whole dynamics of the case, man. And I think, to change the dynamics of the case and, possibly to where, Karmelo is not, the charges would even, be rearranged. You know what I'm saying? It's not even a murder charge no more. You know what I'm saying? And the self-defense charge would even give it greater weight. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, let me get up out here, man. I just want to say that, bring words to this, again, update on this again, and like I said, what I was trying to do and what I have, did, at least my part to try to, help out, man, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, I know for, he should not have been, charged no murder, and then especially giving 35 years in prison, man. You know what I'm saying? Trying to defend himself, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, let me get up off here. Just want to say that, hope y'all out there doing well, living life full of love and happiness, doing great, strive for greatness every day. I appreciate y'all liking, sharing, commenting on the videos. I appreciate y'all, but like I said before, we can agree, we can disagree. We disagree, we can hash it out. You know what I'm saying? But until next, y'all, love y'all. All right, y'all.
Fuck it, go ahead and blow off the dough. Step through the maze, man, and became amazing. About to rewrite history and change a page in a crooked book that never told us the true story. Like how we were kings and queens before the slave story, before the killing, stealing, and drug dealing on some real shit. We ran the world.